What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my man in the corner, producer Nick Belsky. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they will wait the weekend before they take on the New York Giants, but there's plenty of conversation, and Thursday night's matchup between the Rams and the Vikings, well, it definitely gave the Pittsburgh Steelers plenty to talk about. We're going to dive into Cooper Kupp and where he stands in the trade market, and if, well, he's done in the trade market. I remember those times chasing Cooper Kupp with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers went out and added a former second-round wide receiver from the Arizona Cardinals. Meanwhile, one insider believes there are three names to keep an eye for that the Steelers could approach over the next week and a half, and it's Friday. So instead of giving our Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Giants picks, we'll do those on Monday. Today, we're picking the entire NFL slate to give you guys our bets heading into the weekend, because shout out our boys over at DraftKings Sportsbook. I got a mustache, finally shaved it. Shout out to everybody who pushed me for this one. The wife's birthday is tomorrow, okay? Just so everybody is aware, I did this for you. I told my barber I was doing it for you. I told everybody at the facility today that said, wow, dude, you look ugly with a mustache, that I'm doing it for you. So here we are. If I'm divorced, single, and nobody wants to talk to me on Monday, I'll let you know. But I'll be here with a mustache. No doubt about it. Nick, it's a nice one here in the Berg, except for my face. How you feeling, my friend?
I mean, how could I not feel exuberant seeing the preview of Monday Night Mustache of Noah Strackbine? So to be honest, I didn't think you would do it before, because everybody told you that it was a bad idea to do it the day before your wife's birthday, especially because she's been very outspoken that she does not like it. So I will give it to you. You got some big cojones for doing that right before the wife's birthday. The first birthday since you guys got married, too, which I think adds a little bit of spice to this story.
It definitely does. I've thought about that all week long. I've tried to mentally prepare her by joking about how I am going to get a mustache, and her, joking back saying, yeah, well, you're going to wait till Monday. And I'm like, maybe. You never know. You never know when we're going to wait for, if we're going to wait for Monday. She knew I had a haircut today. I sent her a Snapchat after it was over. She has not opened that Snapchat. She will be home by the time this podcast is over. I might just stay live, go downstairs, and see what happens. Let you guys get a live reaction here, and show the divorce papers. It's a good time. But again, do it for you guys. Do it for you guys. We're talking a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers football because, well, the trade deadline's in a week and a half. Everybody is waiting for November 5th, and we are got to be getting close. We have to be getting close to a wide receiver trade, right? That's what we think every other day. And then the next day, it seems those dreams get killed. And this week, it was Cooper Kupp. We're here. We're getting Cooper Kupp. The Pittsburgh Steelers. We're about to land the one and only, the former Offensive Player of the Year, the Triple Crown winner, the guy that was going to send the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Super Bowl. We were feeling real good about it. Well, and then we watched Thursday Night Football. Cooper Kupp catches 5 passes for 51 yards. The Minnesota Vikings lose to the Los Angeles Rams with that probably wouldn't decide the game, but one of the most blatant missed calls of all time, with the face mask on Sam Darnold. And afterwards, Sean McVay drops this dagger of a quote in the heart of all Pittsburgh Steelers fans, saying, quote, "I'm really glad to have Cooper Kupp back with us, and I expect it to stay that way." Nick, you heard that one? I woke up I didn't hear the press conference after the game. I saw it this morning, like the rest of the world. I woke up, anywhere between 50 and 60 people tagged me on Twitter and slid into my DMs saying, this is it. We thought we had a shot. The shot is now dead. Dream's over. Cooper Kupp's not coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to give my thoughts because I don't think I necessarily fully agree with the thought process of everybody else, but I will ask you yours first. Is it over? Is the dream dead?
I mean, it's certainly a long shot now if it wasn't before. I mean, I don't even, like you said, I didn't see the quote until this morning. What I saw was Cooper Kupp catch a cover 2 beater in the late fourth quarter stages on a 3rd and long. And I said, Cooper Kupp just put a dagger in the chances that Cooper Kupp ends up coming to Pittsburgh, because now they're 3-4 and the Rams are, I believe, a game out of first place in the NFC West because it is very cool. NFC West. And I understand that when Sean McVay says something like that, it reads, oh, well, they're definitely not trading him. But the only solace that Steelers fans can fall back on if they really want Kupp is he's not the general manager, and the general manager might have a different idea of what to do over the next week and a half. So again, I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I would say it is probably a long shot at this point.
I don't know if I'm sticking with the long shot, but I hear what you're saying. And you got me, because your thoughts at the first half of that were exactly what I was thinking. Sean McVay doesn't make that phone call. Sean McVay has no conversations with Omar Khan about what the Los Angeles Rams can possibly get for Cooper Kupp. Sean McVay doesn't get to decide if the LA Rams are good or not good with Cooper Kupp this season. And yeah, last night was great. I get it. It was good. You won a game. You moved to 3-4. You're closer to the NFC West, and everybody around you stinks. But if the 49ers win this weekend, and I'm just guessing everybody's playing, I'm not sure who's on a bye week. If the 49ers win this weekend, if the Seattle Seahawks, win this weekend, you're right back to where you were a week ago. And then you still have a whole other game next week. And let's say next week they lose. And next week, everybody else wins. And you're looking at that and you're 3-5, and everybody else is 4-3 or 5-3 or whatever it is on the other side of this. And you're right back to we're not looking great. We had one good game against Minnesota and then one bad game against whoever. That's all it's going to take. So while today, Cooper Kupp is a Los Angeles Ram and appears to be a Los Angeles Ram, and there's no word that things are going to change, and nobody's sitting around going, Cooper Kupp's staying here forever. He's leaving tomorrow. No, he's not. He's staying here forever. We're talking about a week from now, because maybe it's shut down this weekend. Maybe it shut down the plans for Monday, maybe whatever. It doesn't matter, because the deadline isn't until that Tuesday. I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take this right down to the deadline, that they at this point are sitting around going, we will wait until Tuesday, November 5th at 4 p.m. to make a move if we need to, because there will be options, but we're not fighting the clock on Devontae Adams anymore. We're not fighting the clock on Brandon Ayuk anymore. We're not fighting the clock on, they never went after Amari Cooper, but Amari Cooper anymore. We're not doing any of this. The Steelers are looking at it and saying, we got all the time to kill. We have a bye week next week, so we don't have to worry about a game. The Giants on Monday night, even if Cooper Kupp showed up on Sunday afternoon, he's not playing Monday night. He just played on Thursday. He's not going to play twice in a week. He's missing this game. So you got time. Time is of the essence for the Pittsburgh Steelers. There is no rush to get a deal done. Maybe Cooper Kupp stays in LA, and maybe Sean McVay is spot on, and maybe they win next week and this conversation is pointless. That is very much so a possibility. But maybe they lose and the urgency's back and the Pittsburgh Steelers strike and Cooper Kupp becomes an AFC North black and gold bleeder like the rest of us. And we just don't know. We just don't know. It's too early to tell with the Cooper Kupp thing. Last night was not great. Didn't work in the Pittsburgh Steelers' favor. I'm not calling it over. I mean, the fat lady has not sung. The bell has not rang. This fight is still going, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are taking it down to the final round before they do anything. On the other side of that, because you had one Twitter reaction go straight into the next one. It went, Cooper Kupp's over. The dream's dead. Sean McVay killed us. I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. To Andy Isabella signs to the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad. And I got a text from my own, somebody that works with us, that said, hey, do you want me to still write stories about the Steelers wide receiver plans? Because it seems like they just signed somebody. No, they signed Andy Isabella to the practice squad. And maybe one day he makes it onto the active roster. But this is my guess for Andy Isabella and what he's going to do for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that is, he's going to stay on the practice squad for at least a week, probably until after the bye week. Roman Wilson is not going to play in that time. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are eventually going to call up Andy Isabella and put him on the active roster or elevate him or whatever and utilize him, because they're not getting anything out of Roman Wilson and they need another wide receiver, because 4 is bad. 4 when 3 of them contribute for like 4 catches every other week is even worse. So you got to look at options. The Steelers are looking at Andy Isabella as just another option. He's just another Brandon Johnson. That's all he is. And maybe that turns into something great. But you have the stats in front of you, and I would like you to read them to everybody to just ensure that the Pittsburgh Steelers did not bring this guy here to be the wide receiver 2 And this is the answer. 5'8" kick return specialist Andy Isabella is the guy that's going to replace Van Jefferson and company for the Steelers.
Yeah, I only need one sentence to tell you the entire story about why the Steelers brought in Andy Isabella. 3
Yeah.
receptions in the past 3 seasons. He is not the wide receiver 2. He's not going to be the wide receiver 3. He's going to be the wide receiver 5. He's an extra pair of hands, and he's going to be put out there if need be. He's not a guy that, honestly, I would be surprised if he even gets called up. I think he's just an extra pair of hands to bring in for this week and the bye week to get things kind of rolling in practice squad. I don't see him being a factor really at all, which, if I'm wrong, great, diamond in the rough, but that would be a diamond in the very, very thick rough over on the side of the fairway.
Exactly. 27 years old. Chances are you're not a diamond in the rough anymore. And look, I mean, shout out to Andy Isabella, former second round pick, has spent many years in the NFL. That's an accomplishment. This dude, he's done 10 times more than I've done with any athletic ability that I was ever granted. So shout out to Andy Isabella. But this is just not the solution. And the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't go get him to be the solution. They just went it and got him to sign him to the practice squad. The only difference between him and the guys that nobody can name that they signed a week and a half ago is that people knew Andy Isabella's name, and that Adam Schefter will tweet out that the Pittsburgh Steelers signed former second round pick for the Arizona Cardinals, Andy Isabella, to their practice squad as if it's news. It's not news, pal. It's not news. This is just another guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers are bringing in to work on their practice squad and see where it goes from there. But I do not believe this is the end of the Steelers wide receiver search, which brings us to point 3 of our wide receiver talk in this cycle to start this show. And that is that the Athletics' Diana Rossini, who has been on top of this wide receiver search for the Steelers the entire time. She has had tidbit after tidbit that has kept us afloat. So shout out to Diana Rossini. She dropped 3 names. Technically, she dropped 4 names. Somebody needed to remind her of the NFL rule about the 4th one because it was Deontay Johnson. Can't come back to Pittsburgh. You need 2 years before you could go trade for Deontay Johnson. She dropped 3 other names that she believes could be on the Pittsburgh Steelers radar and could fit the Pittsburgh Steelers by the trade deadline. And she fully expects the Pittsburgh Steelers to make a move by the trade deadline, And I kind of feel the same way. That the way I sit here, it just feels like they've done it. They've looked at this for so long. Why not? And I'll give you some names at the end of this that I think are the realistic ones. And they're not fun. They're not exciting. Nobody's sitting around going, ooh, really, that guy? Really? They're going around going, yeah, that's probably not going to work out. But it's still somebody, and I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do something to add someone before November 5th. The 3 names she named were Darius Slayton of the New York Giants. The Pittsburgh Steelers will meet him on Monday night. Kendrick Bourne of the New England Patriots and KJ Osborne of the New England Patriots. I mean, I have a name here. I want to know if my name matches up with your name, so I'll let you speak first. Of those 3, who would you be pleased with any of them? What one would you be pleased with the most?
Let's do this by my rule of thumb. My rule of thumb for the Steelers for the next couple of weeks is if the person we're talking about has less receiving yards than Van Jefferson, we're going to throw it in the garbage pile. That takes out KJ Osborne. That takes out Kendrick Bourne. So the one name remaining is Darius Slayton. So as far as those 2 that are up in New England, I mean, there have been weeks where they have not gotten in at all for the New England Patriots. So
do injuries count? I think Bourne just came off of IR. I'm almost positive Bourne just came off IR.
All right. Well, if we want players that are just coming off of an injury in 2 weeks, hopefully that's Roman Wilson. I'd rather have him than Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah. I think I would put Kendrick Bourne 2 on this list, but definitely above KJ. KJ Osborne doesn't add anything to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, he was exciting in Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. Maybe he comes here and does something. I don't know, but he was a number 3 in Minnesota. I have a hard time believing he's anything more than a number 3 in Pittsburgh. Kendrick Bourne at least has some upside. Like, this is a dude who, New England sold house with everybody. They said Jacoby Myers, nope, not as good. Kendrick Bourne. Juju Smith-Schuster, nope, he ain't Kendrick Bourne. Just to go with Kendrick Bourne here, I think he's got some upside. I don't think he's wide receiver 2 material, but I also think that he is a better route runner and has much more burst to him than Van Jefferson does. And maybe that's something Russell Wilson can work with. I agree with you, though. Darius Slayton's the name here. Darius Slayton's the easy name here. I mean, he doesn't, I don't know if he even fits the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, but do the guys that they have fit the Pittsburgh Steelers offense? I don't know. I have no idea. So why not go get Darius Slayton? Would you rather Darius Slayton over Mike Evans or Mike Williams?
I think I'd still rather that. Again, I keep going back to the thing with Mike Williams that he's too similar to George Pickens. And I understand that there's some people that can say, well, then you can stretch the field on both sides. And sure, maybe, but we've seen what they want to do with Russell Wilson. He's not just stepping back in a straight drop back. A lot of the times the Steelers are moving that pocket, and that's in large part due to the fact that their offensive line has been banged up. They haven't really gotten an opportunity to build that chemistry. So with them moving the pocket a lot, I don't really see the need to have two vertical threats on either side or one on either side of the football. I think I'd rather get somebody like a Darius Slayton, who, again, similar to when we were talking about Cooper Kupp, can kind of work that intermediate area of the field. And when I look at Slayton's numbers, and again, just counting stat numbers, he is clearly, if you're going to go outside of a Cooper Kupp, outside of a DK Metcalf, who seem to be off the market, but obviously people still want to talk about them, the person that's actually available that's probably the best option is Slayton. I mean, he's had a 100-yard receiving game this year. He's also tacked on 2 other 50-plus yard receiving games. This is the guy that can actually raise the floor of your wide receiver core a little bit more than a guy like Bourne, who, again, is a coin toss and might just not give you anything new than what you already have in a Van Jefferson, in a Calvin Austin, or even in a Scotty Miller.
Yeah. Oh, yikes. Hopefully Kendrick Bourne didn't hear that. He wouldn't be, we're not trying to put people down. No, just joking.
No, I mean, literally nothing. It's what I've seen. It's what you've watched this year. And what do you bring to the table? To me, not much more than what Scotty Miller has brought to the table in Pittsburgh, which was 2 catches in one game, 2 big catches for the Steelers in that game against the Chargers. But alas, 2 catches in 7 weeks.
Yes. I agree with you. And I agree Darius Slayton is the name. I think bottom line is the Steelers need something different, reliable. 100-yard. I mean, that's to have a 100-yard game there simply is just saying there is enough upside here to do something. If you got 100 yards with no offensive line, 0 other receiver, Malik Neighbors, and no quarterback, you're doing pretty all right. You've done some things, you've made some moves, you caught some passes. I think that's an option. What's Darius Slayton go for? I'm not giving up a 4th round pick for Darius Slayton. I'm going DeAndre Hopkins trade here with the 5th that becomes a 4th with the condition. But if you got Justin Fields for a 6th and guys are going for nothing now, I'm going 5th conditional 4th for a Darius Slayton. Maybe a bad player.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're not overpaying for a Darius Slayton. There's a very big gap between the names that we have talked about, which you mentioned at the top of the show, where Ayuk at one point was, Cooper Kupp at one point was, Devontae Adams. There's a major gap between guys that you're bringing in to be a 1B, but really are number 1 receivers in their own right, versus a Darius Slayton, who is at best, true number 2. And you do have to give him credit where credit is due. That 100-yard catch game was in a game where Malik Neighbors was not playing. So he stepped up when he needed to step up. That's what the Pittsburgh Steelers need. Yeah, they might be able to get it in a guy like Calvin Austin. We just haven't seen that on a consistent basis, which is why I think for a team that is outwardly saying that they want to win a Super Bowl, you need to be able to take more sure bets. And I think Slayton gives you that.
I agree. I 100% agree. And if that's where the Pittsburgh Steelers end up, I'm not complaining. They shot for the stars. They missed. I get it. But this team is 5-2 without a Darius Slayton. This team is 5-2 without a Cooper Kupp. And they've done some things. And this team's 5-2 without either of those guys and played 6 games with a backup quarterback. And granted, Justin Fields is a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. Let's not act like he's not. He's a starting quarterback in this league. He's just not on a team where he can start. That just means that your upside only gets better with any of these. Granted, maybe not KJ Osborne, but with any of these. And you got to feel like you can make a move to get there. I expect a move to go down. I do. I fully expect it to go down. I don't expect it to go down tomorrow. I think we'll drag this conversation out right till November 5th. And then as everybody is freaking out about one thing or another in this country, we will simply be talking about how Mike Williams, I keep calling him Mike Evans, Mike Williams made his way to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 7th-round pick, and Omar Khan's a genius. That's what we will be doing to keep everybody sane and everybody happy. All right. With that said, we've talked wide receivers. We've talked to all the wide receivers. Just spent 20 minutes talking wide receivers. We're going to take a quick break real quick, and then we are going to go through the NFL slate, plus we're going to answer all your questions. We got some good ones, including what I assume is another bet, and I don't know what else I could shave, but, we'll figure it out. With that said, we'll be right back. We're going to hear a word from our boys over at DK Pittsburgh Sports. Shout out DK Pittsburgh Sports at DraftKings. There's this chill in the air. The leaves are hitting the ground, and football is every single weekend, and that, my friends, is what fall is all about. You can make each weekend even more exciting by getting into the action with our partners, DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. And right now, all new customers who bet $5 instantly get $200 in bonus bets. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using my promo code ALLSTEELERS, and guess what? The crown is yours. That's $200 in bonus bets instantly. You could stay in on the action and use that $200 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings, because DraftKings is the place to bet touchdowns. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You could still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers who use my promo code ALLSTEELERS and bet just $5 on any wager get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code ALLSTEELERS only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out our boys over at DraftKings. I'm excited to do this because, for one, it's been a long time. You said it before the show, or maybe during the show. It's been a long time since you've picked an NFL slate. Same. It's been forever since I've just gone through and picked an NFL slate. And number two, this just gives me a reminder of where I'm going, like what Sunday is going to look like, because that's my problem is like Sunday morning rolls around and I feel like I wait until like 12:50 and I'm like, oh, I got to make the bets. And I'm like running through picking. This gives me, I could go back. I could spend my morning agonizing in pain as I re-listen to myself speak and remind myself why we're making the moves we're going to make to hopefully not lose this weekend. We'll probably lose, but we're going to try. We're going to try. With that said, we're going through the entire NFL slate. From there, we'll answer everybody's questions. I know we got some good ones. Very excited about this challenge, I believe. And I'll toss it to you, Nick. NFL slate, week 8. We're picking the bets against the spread. What do we got?
Yeah, let's start in the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens visiting the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens, winning 5 straight games, are 8-point favorites against the Cleveland Browns.
Are you thinking you we'll go in the same order the whole time here?
No, we'll bounce back and forth. I'll let you lead off though, because you are the host.
All right. Jameis Winston, my friend. I love him. He brings me many smiles. He's not going to beat the Ravens he's not going to lose to the Ravens by less than 8. I'm going Baltimore. I'm shocked it's 8. Should be like 14, maybe 13.5. There's a chance the Cleveland Browns are the worst team in the NFL. And they're a good team. They're a good team, but you're 1-5. You're cashing in. It's over. They are 1-6 or whatever they are. It's over. They don't have anything left to give. These guys are ready for the offseason. And guys like Myles Garrett and Sedarius Smith should be hoping for trades. Denzel Ward should be hoping for trades before November 5th. I'm going Baltimore Ravens, and I'm taking the 8.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the 8 too. I hate these large spreads, and we see a lot of them this week. Even in AFC North football, especially, 8 points is a lot of points, but I don't know. Jameis, he can either go out and light the world on fire, or he can go out and light his team on fire, and it's either or. And with the Baltimore Ravens coming in on a 5-game winning streak and Derrick Henry basically running away with the rushing title in week 8, I think I got to ride the Baltimore Ravens. So we're both on the same side there with Baltimore -8. Let's go to Detroit as they host the Tennessee Titans. The Detroit Lions, another large spread here, 11.5-point favorites over, I believe, Mason Rudolph in his second start in a row and the Tennessee Titans.
So the Tennessee Titans will not name a starting quarterback. I was just speaking to somebody about this. They're keeping it hush. Although Will Levis hasn't practiced all week, but we will not. It sounds like Mike Tomlin. Brian Callahan learned a little something playing in the AFC North, and we don't give away quarterbacks, even though everybody else knows your quarterback playing. Here's a fun fact for you. The Lions have never beaten the Titans in the history of their team. They've never beaten the Titans. Yeah. That being said, they will this week, and the spread is 11.5. I'm going to take that 11.5. L'Jarius Sneed is out. Chidozie Awuzie. I never say his name correctly. Yeah. Shout out. I've met him once too. He's a good guy.
Cheeto's a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheeto. Thank you. He is also out. Calvin Ridley is good, but hasn't practiced all week. Mason Rudolph is the quarterback, and even last week didn't look great as the quarterback. 11.5 is easy. The Lions might be if we're going to be real, they might be the best team in football. They just don't have the best record. I'm going Lions on this, and I'm feeling kind of good about the 11.5.
Yeah, the whole reason that we're talking about the LA Rams thinking that they might still have a chance is because I feel like the NFC is wide open, but there is one favorite, and that favorite is the Detroit Lions. So I'm going to stick with the Lions at 11.5. And then, sorry, I meant to go first for that one, so I'll go first for the next two. But we're both on the Detroit Lions minus 11.5. It makes me worried because that's a lot of points, and this is the NFL, but the Titans have just been the Titans have been rough this year. So let's go with the 11.5. Let's go to Jacksonville, where the Green Bay Packers will be visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Packers are road favorites by a total of 4. The Jags got a win last week. I was a little surprised that they got a win last week, even though it was against the Patriots, but I'm not going against the Packers with a number like 4. I like Trevor Lawrence, but it's just not their year this year, and it's not even close to their year. Packers have been steamrolling teams. I'm going to go with the Packers minus 4.
Yeah, I'm going Packers too. Look, the easiest win in football is we spent a week in London and you just showed up 2 days ago. And then you add a rookie quarterback in there. It's on a bad team. It was the easiest win you could have. It doesn't count. That win does not count at all. It does not prove anything to you or anybody else in the NFL. The Jaguars are still a very bad football team with no structure, and Tank Bigsby, awesome. Name me one person that should have stopped him on the Patriots defense. You can't. Yeah. So we're going with the Packers here. The Packers are another good team, and they're only getting better. 4 is an easy one. I would bump that to 7 if I had to, but I would go Packers on that easy.
Yeah, the Patriots head coach literally called his team soft after their performance. So I'm not taking too much in stock into what I saw from the Jags last week. Let's go over to another AFC South venue. It is the Houston Texans, 5-point favorites against the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the same Colts team that beat the Steelers are looking a little bit less solid with Anthony Richardson behind center since he's come back. I'm going to ride with the Houston Texans. Again, another team that sneakily is probably one of the top 3, top 4 in the league right now. They're playing good football. CJ Stroud was not happy with his performance last week in Green Bay, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. 5-point favorites. I'll take the points and the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I mean, easy. If Anthony Richardson's playing, Anthony Richardson is not ready to play. That's the thing. He is not ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, and that's nothing against Anthony Richardson. We all knew that coming in here. When he got drafted at 4, we knew he was not ready for the NFL, but they didn't have any other options. So they have to rock with him. They can't bench him, because you bench him, you make all sorts of noise for the wrong reasons. You take your L's, you'll lose this season. You try to figure it out next year. You hope that Anthony Richardson gets better before the end of his rookie contract. I'm going Texans with an easy one here. I think that you said 5. I'm taking 5.
Let's move over to the AFC East, a matchup that, man, what has happened to the New England Patriots of late? They are 7-point underdogs at home to Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets.
What?
You get the lead off on this one.
I don't know how to feel about this one. Aaron Rodgers, 7's a lot. Aaron Rodgers is bad. Here's the thing. This is a classic. Aaron Rodgers looks good. The Jets dominate against the Patriots because the Patriots stink. Everybody hates their coach. It's done. Like, the Patriots are over. Season's washed. You better just hope Drake May, you don't ruin him in the process of this. You're going to win by they're going to win by 7. They're going to blow them out. They're going to blow out the Patriots. And Aaron Rodgers is going to show up on the Pat McAfee show on Tuesday. He's going to brag like he's the greatest thing in the world. And then next week they're going to lose. So you get one hiccup, you get one up on the roller coaster with Aaron Rodgers. I'll take him with the 7. The Patriots are just bad.
There was one game this season in which the New York Jets played, and then everybody fell back in love with Aaron Rodgers. That was the Jets steamrolling the Patriots earlier this season. I think it's probably going to happen again. But again, don't buy into it after one win. So I'll take the Jets -7 as well. And these are the ones that when I was writing down my picks, I was like, okay, I feel confident in these ones. The back half is where I think we're going to start to differ. But let's go to this next one here. Again, I told you there were some stinky lines going into this weekend, and this is certainly one of them. Philadelphia Eagles, 3-point underdogs to the Cincinnati Bengals on the road. Who do you got? Bengals and Eagles. I think I'm riding with the Eagles +3.
What?
Yeah.
Why are they underdogs? They're on the road?
They're on the road. They're in the jungle.
In Cincinnati. Cincinnati's coming off a win, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, they beat the Browns last week.
But the Eagles are coming off a win. The Eagles are coming off a good win, like a blowout win, are they not? I'm pretty positive they are. Isn't the Nick Sirianni talking to Saquon on the sideline thing going viral?
Mm-hmm.
This is the easiest 3 you could take right now. At worst, the Eagles lose by 2, but they win this game. They win. The Bengals are not a good football team. They're just not. And they have Joe Burrow, but the defense is beat up and not reliable. And the offensive line is still the offensive line. And I think they lost Orlando. Nope. I'm going Eagles. That's an easy one. Eagles 3.
Orlando Brown is on the injury report. So too is T. Higgins, who did play last week despite being on the injury report. But if he's still dealing with something, you're not playing the Browns this week. You're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that, again, weak NFC, but one of the better teams in a weak NFC. So
they're only going to get
3 is kind of crazy.
Could not believe that they are. I could see a 1. I could see a +1 just to pick them.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm going Eagles.
All righty. Let's go over to the NFC South. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I've told you in the past, Tampa Bay is a team that I can never correctly predict. So it might be wise to just fade whatever I have. The Bucs are 2.5-point home dogs to the Atlanta Falcons.
I like that a little bit. There's a part of me that wants to take the Falcons on this just because you're without Chris Godwin and you're without Mike Evans. It's like Josh Palmer coming out here trying to play well for you. And I think Bucky Irving's also hurt. That's not good. I think I'm still going to go Baker and the Bucs simply because this is like a revenge game almost. This is like we make good for our injured guys game. This is a Baker game. This is a classic Baker game. And I'm going to put it all on Baker. I'm going to go Baker with they're 3-point dogs. So I'm going to take the Bucs and the points there with the 3.
Alrighty. I'm going to go the opposite end with this one. So this is our first one that's different. Obviously, Falcons, Bucs, great Thursday night game a couple weeks ago. Those injuries to me are just a little bit too much to overcome. And I think that Kirk Cousins and the boys are going to be very upset the fact that they lost a game to the Seattle Seahawks, who had to come the whole way across the country and were able to beat them by multiple scores on their home turf. I think they go out there and they get the win. I'll take the 2.5. I think it's going to be a close one, but I'll take 2.5 with Atlanta.
I like it.
All righty. Let's go to the next one here where we have the Arizona Cardinals, 4.5-point underdogs to the returning Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins down in Miami. So Tua in his return getting a 4.5-point spread.
Oh my gosh, this one's tough. This is the toughest one I think that we've picked so far, simply because I have no faith in Tua right now. None. Yeah. I get his return. I understand it all. I just I got no faith Tua is going to stay healthy. I have no faith Tua is going to be good right now. I don't know. I don't know what to think. But they're probably going to win, right? Like Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals were good for like a week and then they fell off. And then it was the end of Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. So you have to go with the Dolphins. 4 is tough. I'll take them with the points. I don't feel good about it. This is the game I feel the least confident in, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins and the 4.
Alrighty, this is a hard one because if Tua comes out and he is prime Tua, they should easily cover the 4.5. But Kyler Murray has been very tough, and so have those Arizona Cardinals. The only game that they've really been outclassed in was at Green Bay in the cold.
Yep.
I know that sometimes that shouldn't play a factor, and it plays more of a factor, or we believe it plays more of a factor than it actually does. But I think 4.5 for a Tua Tagovailoa that I'm not really sure what we're going to get out of. I'll take Arizona at 4.5. I still think that Miami could win this game, but 4.5 just seems like a lot of points. I think this is going to be a field goal game either way. So I'm going to take Arizona plus 4.5 on this one.
I like it. I like it.
Let's go to, speaking of cross-country trips, Buffalo Bills, 3-point favorites in Seattle taking on the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's an easy one. 12th man, I get it. Seattle's coming off a big win. Seattle to me is like a who'd you play team. You know, they look good when they should look good. They look bad when they should look bad. They're just not an impressive team. DK Metcalf is doubtful. I'm going Buffalo. Buffalo's red hot right now and getting better, and I just expect them to. I expect Buffalo to become Buffalo more and more as the weeks come on. What did you say they are? 3.5-point favorites?
Buffalo is 3-point favorites on the road.
3-point favorites. I'll take the 3. I think it might just be 3. Like I might lose it because of the 3, but I'm going to go Buffalo 3-point favorites here.
All right, I'm on the other side of this one as well, taking the Seattle Seahawks on home field. I understand DK Metcalf got a little banged up last week, but it's a hard thing to do going cross country to play another team. So I think I'm going to ride with Seattle. They're coming off of a little bit of momentum, getting that win in Atlanta. I think they'll be able to at least keep this one close on home field. Next game is the LA Chargers, and this one, again, I know the Saints looked real bad last week, but the Chargers, who lost, I believe it was on the road, but they lost by 2 to the Cardinals last week on Monday night, getting 7 points against the New Orleans Saints.
Whoa.
I have the Chargers getting 7, but I am not confident in that one.
I think I agree with you, though. I think I agree. The Saints look terrible. Remember for 4 quarters of football, 2 weeks, 8 quarters of football, 2 weeks of football, the Saints were the greatest thing ever. We were sitting here talking, like, people were asking us, did the Steelers mess up by not hiring Kubiak? Did they, or not Kubiak? Kubiak, right?
Yeah, Clint Kubiak.
Clint Kubiak, thank you. Yeah, they've just completely disappeared. And it was before Derek Carr got hurt. This is not a Derek Carr thing. This is we got nobody. And I'm sorry, but Marquez Valdez-Scantling is not going to make that team any better. So, I mean, 7's a big number here. A big number. To be honest, I forget who they're even playing. I just know I'm taking the 7 because they're going to lose by more than 7.
Yeah, it's the Chargers.
Chargers. So I'm Chargers by 7, at least. Jim Harbaugh is going to run all over this team. They got no defense. They got a worse offense. I'm going Chargers by 30, probably.
This is one that if we weren't picking the whole slate, I would just leave it alone and walk away from it. I would be like, there's no chance I am touching this game at all. But you know what? We're calling the whole slate. If we're doing it, we're doing it. And I'm taking the Chargers.
If we were going, I would put this in a parlay somewhere and I would just take the money line and I would feel really, really good about it. And it would just be a small boost to the parlay, but I'd feel like it's an easy win and you walk away.
The Chargers are minus 310 on the money line. So that is, when you say small boost, it's a tiny boost.
But when you parlay it with like 4 of the teams, it works. It gives you a little something, a little added juice.
A little bit extra. Let's stay in the Chargers division. We got a division rivalry. Kansas City Chiefs, 9.5-point favorites on the road at Allegiant Stadium, taking on the Las Vegas Raiders and the returning Gardner Minshew after Aiden O'Connell went down earlier this week.
What's the spread on this one?
9.5 in favor of the Chiefs.
Oh, I'm gonna go Vegas. I'm gonna go Vegas and 9.5. The Chiefs are gonna win, but they're not gonna win by 10. The Chiefs are not a good football team. They're just 6-0. Patrick Mahomes is trash. He's not trash. He's phenomenal. He's the best football player alive, but he's trash. Like you go look at his stat line. The dude's got more. He leads the league. He leads odds right now for the MVP race, and has more interceptions than he does touchdowns. How did we get here? That's because it's Patrick Mahomes. He's the best football player in the world, hands down, 0 questions asked, but he's trash, and they will not win this game by 10. I'm going Vegas, 9.5.
What do the Chiefs do? They win football games. What don't the Chiefs do? cover big spreads. So I'm right
Yeah.
there with you. I am taking the Raiders plus 9.5. And this is a team that
Easy.
Steelers played a couple weeks ago. They didn't look good. We thought they would get that new quarterback bump. Well, now they get another chance, another new quarterback bump, getting Gardner Minshew back.
I'd go quarterback bump for Gardner all day. He's like, you want to talk, he is the quarterback bump in the NFL. Him and Flacco. Those are the quarterback bumps that you could add to your team.
I would have been mad if you didn't take Gardner because you're rocking the stash. You got to be in solidarity with your fellow stash brother.
True.
And he has more of like
half of a little mullet going on too. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
All righty, let's go over to the next one. This was supposed to be rookie QB versus rookie QB. Doesn't look like Jaden Daniels is going to suit up for the Washington Commanders. Probably going to see Marcus Mariota instead. But Caleb Williams in town, my neck of the woods. Bears are 3-point favorites against the Commanders at FedEx Field.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I wish Jaden was playing. I'm going Bears in this, 3-point favorites. I just don't think the Commanders are really good. The Bears are also good. The Bears are also good. And Caleb Williams is very good. So I'm going Bears 3. If this was Jaden, I would have taken the Commanders, but I also think they would have been favorites. So I'm going Bears 3.
All righty. Talk about your stinky lines. Here's a Super Bowl rematch.
Wait, you didn't pick your team there.
Oh yeah, Bears. I'm not taking Marcus Mariota. Come on now. I'm not taking Marcus
Mariota. I put up 40 last week. 40.
He put up 40 against the team we're about to talk about, and I have a
he
stat
covered my
team.
22.5 spread. Okay, he covered that. So shout out.
Hey, fair enough there. But speaking of the team that they actually did that to, Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos. Again, crazy to me that this is a Super Bowl rematch from this millennia. That was Super Bowl 50, obviously. Broncos are 11-point favorites at home, which at first I said, man, double-digit spreads are always hard. I hate picking them. But then I looked at Carolina's win-loss record, and I was like, okay, it makes me feel a little bit more confident. Then I looked at their box scores, and I said, man, only one of those 6 losses were by less than 11 points. Everything else has been 12 or more. So I'll take Denver. I'll take them even with the 11-point spread.
I'll give you a guess here. Okay. What do you think Carolina? I know this number. What do you think Carolina's point differential is this season?
Minus 98.
Minus 133. Oh. Take a guess at what number 2 is. Go ahead. Take a guess at what number 2 is.
I don't know what team it is, but it's probably like minus 50.
Minus 79. That's a massive difference. That is a massive difference. The Carolina Panthers they're the worst team in football, and then the next worst team is like up here. That's how bad they are. 11 points. I don't care that Bryce Young's coming back. The Denver Broncos are going to blow this team away. They're getting hot. I'm going the Broncos 11. I would have taken the Broncos higher, if we're going to be honest. There is no number. I don't think I would have. Until you started saying like 35, I'd be like, yeah, okay, chances are they get on the board once, maybe. But there is nobody good on Carolina.
Fair enough. All right, we got the last game of the slate, and then we'll get into everybody's questions. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football. 49ers, 4-point favorites at home.
I'd go 49ers. I'd go 4-2. Dallas is not good. I don't think Dallas is very good. Jerry Jones is doing everything he can to keep this team relevant. And shout out him. He's doing a good job. He knows how to do this. He knows how to do it very well. But they are a bad football team, and they have a lot of questions. And those questions are not going to get answered no matter how much people want to ask them about Derrick Henry. So shout out to the 49ers. You're getting the 4-point win here.
The 49ers are single-handedly keeping all of the hospitals in the Bay Area open with all their injuries. I mean, you look at who they have out. Deebo Samuel's coming off of pneumonia. George Kittle's on the injury report. Trent Williams is on the injury report. Christian McCaffrey, he might be in Europe still trying to get his calves figured out. Look at all the injuries that they have. I think that San Francisco is still going to keep this close because I think that ultimately they are the better team if they can get those players onto the field. With that uncertainty, though, I'm just not willing to bet on them with a 4-point favorite. I think this is one that, again, I might play the middle. I might play San Francisco to win, but since we're picking spreads, I'll go Dallas Cowboys +4.
I like it. This is a game that Monday, if you're a national reporter, you're talking about either the Cowboys are back, they're here, they're legit, or the Cowboys are done, it's over, they suck, they'll never win again. It's one or the other. All right. Shout out, everybody. That was a good slate. I had fun doing that. We'll see. I'm going to run through it on Sunday morning. I'm going to make my picks. I'm going to make my parlays, and we're going to try to win some money. And shout out to our boys over at DraftKings Sportsbook. That was a good time. We'll do Monday's pick. We'll do the Pittsburgh Steelers New York Giants on Monday. The live stream's at 9 a.m. So make sure that you catch it, and we'll answer all your questions. With that said, we'll round out the show the way we do every single day. We'll answer as many of your questions as we can get to. So if you got them, toss them in the chat. Nick, I'm going to toss it to you. What do we got?
Yeah, let's kick things off with Marlon Lewis, who has a stat line prediction again. He got it right last week. He says 250 and 2 touchdowns for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, this is it, man. This is, I mean, you got to stick with him, right? He knows what he's talking about. And Marlon got it correct a week ago. I have a feeling you're going to get it correct again. To be honest, I think you're going to do more than that. I think Russell Wilson goes more than 250. 350 is too much. We talked about that yesterday. 250 and 2 touchdowns. I could see that. Remember, Calvin Austin's going off this week. It's my bold prediction. Calvin Austin is having himself a game. Yeah, I'm feeling real good about that one. I'm feeling real good about 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Marlon also wants to know, Nick and Noah, any bye week plans?
Yeah. Actually, the family's coming in, and we're gonna officially. It's not like a housewarming party. It's more like my family and my wife's family. We're all gonna hang out, order some pizzas, and play some games. So that's my bye week. I'm gonna sleep. Definitely gonna sleep.
Yeah, that'll help. Let's go over to Cody. I'm not really doing anything. I got no plans. I'm gonna watch football. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to watch football and not have to worry about talking about that game the following day.
Facts. Big facts.
Let's go over to Cody Silva, who says, does Mason McCormick troll people on the field, or is that just extra excitement after the play? It feels like his energy lights that whole group up.
I talked to Mason about this yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. I just went up to him in the locker room and I was like, yo, dude, I had probably had 100 people send me your first down celebration and how awesome it was and telling me how much they love you. And he was just like, dude, it was electric. It's not trolling people. I don't think it's any of that. I think 100% he is just in the moment. I said, yo, you didn't have stadiums like that at South Dakota State. He said, hell no. And I told him Monday night it's going to be even crazier. So it's just him getting in the moment, dude, and loving every second of it. That's what you got to love about Mason McCormick. He is just embracing everything. And when you're playing well, it's even better.
Yep. The Energizer Jackrabbit, as we called him a couple days ago. Excited to see more of them. Excited to see more. Let's go over to Wesley Smith, who says, do you think the Raiders would be willing to trade Jacoby Myers?
I do, actually. I do. You lose this week to the Chiefs and things are not looking good. Why not? Just sell house. Just trade everybody. You don't have it. That's the biggest thing here is they don't have a quarterback. They don't have anything to latch onto. They don't have the one guy that they go, this is our thing. We have to build around him. They don't even have that piece yet. Sell everybody, sell the house, try to build up from there. You have pieces to the offensive line. You have a good defense. See if you could build an offense, but Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, they're not going to be part of it. So I think it is a possibility. Jacoby Myers would be a good pick. If he's healthy, he's got to stay healthy. But if he is, I could see that happening for the Steelers.
Let's jump over to Eddie the Great, who says, afternoon, fellas. Any chance we get an AST shirt that says Nick? What do we got?
I love that, actually. I mean, I gotta say, I'm honored because you watch stuff like the New Heights podcast and stuff, and they get the new news merch. It'd be cool to have a little what do you got shirt going on. So shout out to Eddie. If we do make one, I'll make sure that you get one before anybody else.
Let's go over to Marlon again, who wants to know, what role will CJ Henderson play this upcoming week?
I don't know if CJ is going to be active this week. I've been trying to think about that for the past couple of days and just kind of see what happens. So Dante Jackson, I don't believe is going to play. He'll probably be questionable tomorrow and then just not play on Monday. If he does play, it'll probably be limited reps. If he does play, CJ will be inactive. If he doesn't play, CJ will be active, but I don't know what his role will be. It'll probably just be special teams. James Pierre will start opposite of Joey Porter Jr., and they'll just use CJ as a backup, much like they did James Pierre if Dante Jackson is healthy. So it'll be very limited. He won't be the starting corner, but they are getting looks at him. And the fact that they signed him to keep him while other teams were looking at him means that they have some interest in what he could bring to this team. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure.
Let's go over to William Cowan, who says, why do the Steelers always have to be a winning team and struggle instead of taking a dive one year? Or is it Tomlin's record that's more important than the future?
So I think sometimes Tomlin's record and a winning record, and it's not even Tomlin's. I think it's the Steelers. I think I think at some point the Steelers just refuse to lose. And people will say that's Tomlin. You got to have winning seasons. I think it's like the Rooneys and just the Steelers in general who want to do it. That being said, I don't think they're going to take a dive. And on top of that, if Russ works out, and it looks like he is, you didn't take a dive and it worked out for you. So you struggled. You should have got their quarterback. They didn't. Now they found it in Russ, and we'll see what happens.
Let's jump over to Wesley Smith, who says, what do you guys think about Calvin Ridley?
Calvin Ridley would be a good one. There's problems with Calvin Ridley that would make it not work for the Steelers. He signed a massive deal. They're not going to be able to afford him. And on top of that, he's 29 years old and under a big contract, and chances are he's going to go for like a second-round pick minimum. I just don't think it would. I don't think the logistics would work out for the Steelers. Talent-wise, that would be incredible, but everything else-wise, I just don't think they can make it work.
Let's go to Paranormal in the Funhouse. Says, at this point, are we not going to make a move? And will this kill the fan base the way they look at Omar?
I hope not. I hope not. I like Omar. I think Omar's been great. If everybody's going to judge Omar off of not getting a wide receiver when he tried to get a wide receiver for as long as he's tried to get a wide receiver, I mean, so be it. I'm not going to judge anybody else's opinions of somebody, but I will say that I wouldn't have that same opinion. Omar has been trying. It's been very evident that the Steelers have been trying. It hasn't worked out in their favor. They only get to make half of the decision in a wide receiver trade. Not the full wide receiver, not the full trade. They don't get to make that full call. They don't get to say, hey, we want Devontae. All right, cool. He's coming to you. That's not how that goes down. Same with Brandon Ayuk. It's just not. They came down to the wire and they were there and they stuck it out when nobody else would stick it out. And I think that gives Omar props. He's not going to do that with bad wide. Like if he goes and gets Mike Williams, is everybody satisfied? I don't think so. So I look at it now like he's waiting for the Cooper Kupps. He's waiting for the Jacoby Myers. He was waiting for the Devontae Adams. He's just trying to figure it out. And at the same time, the Deontay Dante trade, I get it. It doesn't seem like a 1-for-1. You never went and replaced him, but it felt like the game plan was there and it just didn't work out in the Steelers' favor. And I think Dante is a much better piece to the Steelers roster as a whole than Deontay Johnson is, because you have Calvin Austin, you have an offense that is working, and Dante Jackson has added a ton to this defense. So I hope not, but I'm not. I mean, I don't know. I don't get to make those calls. I don't get to tell people how to feel. I wouldn't feel that way if Omar and the Steelers do not get a wide receiver.
Let's jump down to the Fields is for the Pickens, who says, can you settle a work debate for me? If Russ wasn't hurt, the Steelers are 7-0. True or false?
No, false. They still lose to the Colts because the defense lost that game to the Colts, not the Steelers. The Steelers did not lose that game to the Colts. They beat the Cowboys because they probably put up more than 17 points, but they don't beat the Colts because they were not prepared for the Colts. And that's an all-around thing. That's not just a Russ. So I'm going to say 6-1. They're 6-1. They're not 7-0 because Joe Flacco still gets the best of them, because that's just what Joe Flacco does, is he gets the best of them.
All righty, let's go over to Cody Silva, who says, with the mustache, you are just one mullet away from being America's hero, Kenny Powers.
Under this hat, I think, let's see if we can see a little bit of, what side am I going here? See a little bit of flow back here. A little bit of something.
I was going to say, I could donate a little bit of my hair.
Nick,
and
you combine, everybody says that we're brothers and that we look like. If you just combined you and me, we are Kenny Powers. So
exactly.
Shout out. But yeah, that's a good one. I like it. I mean, again, we're going to see what the wife thinks in about 5 minutes. So
I'll be awaiting the video of that to put up on all Steelers YouTube.
Thank you. Phone might be broken, but we'll see.
Yeah. Let's go to J Chap Snack Reviews, who says, is Tomlin still a draw to play in Pittsburgh? Can we draw big time free agents on offense just because of Tomlin?
I mean, you drew Russell Wilson. So that's a pretty big name. And Justin Fields wanted to come to Pittsburgh. So I'm going to say yes. Again, I think people are, and I know that maybe I'm taking this, maybe I'm interpreting this question wrong, but it feels like people are taking it harshly that Devontae didn't want to come here. He didn't want to come here no matter what. He wanted to go to New York. Brandon Ayuk didn't want to come here. Yeah, he just bought a month before all that started happening. He bought a house for his entire family in the Bay Area. He didn't want to come to Pittsburgh. He wanted to stay in San Francisco. So I would say he still is a draw. Yes. And I think he's proven that with some guys. and they just haven't gone after the Saquons and that. They've gone after the Russell Wilsons and the Justin Fields.
All righty, let's go over to Joe, who says, if we lose and Russ looks bad, is Justin easily starting after the bye week?
Wouldn't say easily. If Russ would have to, I mean, dude, is there any shot Russ looks bad against the Giants? Like, is there any?
There's always a chance.
There's always, never say never.
Yeah.
But in the words of Mike Tomlin, never. I don't know. Yes, the answer to this question is yes. Easily, no. Is there a chance? Yes. There's a chance that they reopen this and Justin's the guy and they realize they made a mistake. I just have such a hard time believing that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to look bad against the New York Giants.
We got a couple people that want to know about Corey Trice. Jordan says, is he getting reps? And Wesley says, is he healthy?
No, he's still on IR, so he cannot practice until they open that return window. I would imagine next week they do. And just get actually, to be honest, I would imagine it's 2 weeks from now. They'll just work him on the side during the bye week, like you practice once, maybe twice, depending on the team and depending on the situation. Monday Night Football, I would imagine it's just once. So the week after the Washington week, they will probably open that return window. They'll give him as much time as he needs, and then he'll come back. He is definitely close to healthy, and will probably make his return, if not against the Commanders, I would imagine shortly after.
Let's jump down to Big Al, who did contribute, so appreciate you as always.
Shout out.
Said, I forgot to write in a message, though. Is there a chance we can get a big-time receiver still, like a DK Metcalf?
I do. I think the chance is still there. I'm saying this goes down to the wire. This goes down to the trade deadline on November 5th on 4 p.m. Keep your eyes out. I mean, it stinks for us because me and Nick will be sitting here literally waiting until 4 o'clock to go over that. I would imagine that podcast starts at like 4:15. So everybody, they'll be freaking out, and we'll just start time after trade deadline finishes. That's what we will do. I would say, yeah, the opportunity is still there. The Steelers are still certainly looking. They are certainly making calls. I don't know for who. I know Cooper Kupp is one of them. I don't know if DK Metcalf is, but I would imagine those names continue to ramp up and those conversations continue to happen until the deadline is here.
Let's go over to Vincent Thomas, who says, do the Steelers pay Justin, Russ, and Najee next offseason?
No, if I had to guess, they'd pay one of those three. Of the three, I don't know who that is. It'll either be Justin or Russ. Najee is not coming back to the Pittsburgh Steelers next season. He's just not. He's most likely going to run himself out of town and be too expensive in the offseason. I could see Russ coming back. If I had to guess between the three, Russ is my guess, a 3-year deal. He'll be 36 years old at the time. Probably most of it's guaranteed at the front half, except for some bonuses throughout the year that don't count towards the salary. And I don't know, somewhere around like $10 to $15 million a year to come back and try to win some Super Bowls.
Let's go over to Sajan, who says, Noah, if the Steelers go undefeated in the AFC North, will you do a mullet?
Oh, yeah, why not? You know, I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the people. So if the Steelers go undefeated in the AFC North, I will do a mullet. But let's not get crazy here. Okay, people, every time something cool happens, we can't just be messing with my, face and head. My wife will eventually leave, and that is a risk I can't take. So if they go undefeated in the AFC North, I will do a mullet only because I am not confident that they're going to.
Yeah, you do have a couple months there to grow out the hair too. So the mullet will be nice. And
the mullet will
that'll
be nice.
Be January.
And the hair's already like kind of long. And so it's just have to be the sides. It'll be a weird looking mullet, but we'll figure it out. All
right, let's go to Nos, who says, I think the Rams put Cooper Kupp trade out there to motivate the team. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that probably not. I think that they were really thinking that this season's over, and then they won a game, and when they were making those phone calls, things were not looking good, and they thought that if they lost to Minnesota, the team was done. The team inside doesn't really hear that stuff. They're pretty good at ignoring it. So I would say probably not for motivation. I would imagine it was serious. Before we go to the next question, can you bring up that last question? I know it's in there somewhere. We might not be able to find it. I don't want to get their name wrong, and I didn't see what the name was. But I got a challenge. I got to ask. Does it go both ways? Yeah.
Oh, for Sajan.
Sajan, if they don't if they don't go undefeated, do you grow a mullet? I need an answer here. Because I feel like it's got to go both ways. If they don't go, you got to do a mullet. You got to do a mullet too.
All right, let's close out this episode and this week with J Chap's snack review. Says early thoughts on the Steelers' first round needs next year.
I would go defensive line certainly tops that list. Corner might top that list. Wide receiver probably tops that list. Running back might be on there. If I had to guess, it's a defensive lineman. That's where they're going to start. And then they'll go corner and so on and so forth. Back there, they'll probably get, but Corey Trice adds an element to that you don't know. And I would guess they're re-signing Dante Jackson. Like, why would you let him leave? So they might not need a corner. I would imagine defensive line is where they start, and then they work their way everywhere else throughout the defense. The offensive side of the ball, it's probably just a running back and a wide receiver. That would be my guess.
Let's see what the Fields is for the Pickens has to throw in right at the end. Says picking against the Steelers is plain wrong, and it's a double whammy. It should be a mullet with highlights if you get it wrong.
I can't do the highlights. I can't do the highlights. There are a lot. I got to go into a locker room. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And on top of that, people are going to ask they asked about the stash today. Like, I had guys ask me about what the bet was, and I had to tell them I won't lie to you. I lied about the bet. 100% lied about the bet. That is their teammates, but I wouldn't lie about this one. And like I'm just not trying to. There's certain relationships you got to keep sacred here. So highlights would be a no. And I'm speaking with my head here. My head tells me it's very difficult to go undefeated in the AFC North.
All right, that is a wrap for today then.
Awesome. With that said, guys, we are heading out of here. Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcasts. And as always, find all of our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. We'll be back Monday morning, 9 a.m. to do our pregame show, go through picks, final injury reports, so on and so forth, to keep you guys updated right up until game time. That being said, there will be plenty of clips and so on and so forth throughout the weekend to keep you guys engaged and give you guys as much content as we can bring you. Enjoy a weekend without Pittsburgh Steelers football, but still a beautiful weekend in the Berg. Peace.